Hi guys, Terry here. Hey, I finally am getting back to my Queen of Diamonds quilt. I've had the pieces put together, the hand piecing part, and I love doing it. And I've just put off putting the last of it together. I've got to do the sashing. I had done the black sashing a while ago, but now I have to do the white sashing. So it's just me putting it off. So I finally pulled it out this weekend and started on it. The part I was dreading was the cornerstones. So if you recall, the cornerstones are each of these little pieces here. And I had just heard that you had to offset them 1/4 of an inch, and I just didn't know what that meant. So I rewatched all the videos and attempted to figure it out. So here it is in the pieces here. I've got most of the cornerstones on. The last that I'm finishing is these pieces here on the side. So I had to lay it out here and figure out which of the half diamonds went on this side and which went on this side. Because if you look here, this one doesn't need white sashing added to it because these pieces have it. Okay, so these pieces are good. They're ready to be sewn. I'll sew the rows this way, sew them together, and then put the rows together. So that'll work good. I've got the small pieces down here at the bottom. They didn't have a cornerstone. They just had, you had to pay attention to which ones went on the bottom because their shadow went on this side. And I simply did it by laying it out and seeing what, put the pieces according to the pattern, and then, knowing which ones on the bottom had this shadow piece, and then the top ones had a shadow down on this side. So I simply laid those. There was four on top, 4 diamonds on, or 4 triangles pointing down on the top. So their sashing got it down to this side. And then the 4 shadows, the 4 triangles on the bottom got it to this side. And when you lay it out, you'll see where that is, because notice this is going to get sewn to this one. So it comes together. The hard part was figuring out the cornerstones. So I'll have a link to my blog post, and I think the best way to show you is with pictures, but then I think I will add some commentary to those pictures. But now I want to show you these half triangles on this side. This morning I started, let me just sew the white on. Well, what I forgot was there's a cornerstone here. So I'm going to have to unsew this piece and do these the same way I did these, where you attach that white sashing to that side, and then you attach the cornerstone to this piece, and then you sew that to this. So it's a little bit complicated, but once you see the trick, it did go together quickly when I was putting all those pieces together. So started off with a mistake this morning. And, I always tell myself, do one before you do all 3. No, I zipped through all 3, and I thought, I can just add my white sashing on there. And what did we learn? I thought, no, I'll put the cornerstone on this piece. Well, you can't. It has to be attached here. So if you look at how the cornerstones are, to line up with that, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it goes here. See, I have to figure that out. I guess it can go on this piece. Okay, the cornerstone here. Oh, good. I don't have to unsew that. Laying it out is your best bet, because the instructions are there. My measurements were different. I used the template. I used the plastic piece template that cut this out. It was not a 3-inch diamond. It was a 2 3/4. So I don't know what the deal was. I decided that because I had cut all the cornerstones at 2 3/4, I would just cut the sashing at 2 3/4, and it worked out. I just had to know to offset it. Whatever size they are, you just have to be consistent and offset them 1/4 of an inch when you sew them on. And I'll show that in a picture. But yeah, okay, this looks like it's going to work. I'm excited now. So let me go put those on. And like I said, I will show a picture of how you offset that by 1/4 inch. And Chelsea had a good way in her video of showing, she put a ruler on top of it and then opened it up, and I'll show that in a picture. So let me get the rest of those pieces together, and I'm excited. I was really, really dreading putting it together, but I'm so happy with how it looks. Let me zoom out. Look at that. It's going to be so colorful. So one thing that I changed was I added black around all the outside pieces, because I think I'm going to add, if I have enough white, I'm going to do another white sashing. In other words, I'm going to have a border and then I'll have the binding. So I'm hoping that that works okay. But I'm really excited. Let me get the pieces together and then I'll continue. I'll just mention too about the cornerstones. I just picked out a color that I thought went well with each diamond. I really didn't go by the pattern, but I did lay them all out and just pick a color that I thought went well with this. If you lay it all out and make sure you've got one for each one. So here I've got, I think I cut a few extra. I think it calls for 22 and I probably cut about 26 of them, just so that I would have options. And I did like the bolder colors instead of the more pastel colors. So far it has worked out. But if you notice, you're going to have a 60, well, you have to look at the angles. They call this a 60-degree angle, and on your rulers it does have a 60-degree angle. And I think the most confusing part in the book was it showed the ruler, first off, it didn't show the white, it showed a blue print in the book. It was blue fabric here, so that didn't make sense to me. And then the ruler was laying the wrong way because it wasn't the direction that you're going to cut. So my best advice to you is lay it out how the finished product it is going to be, and then realize that you're going to be flipping the fabric, you know what I mean? So you know here that it's going to be cut like this because it has to be straight along here, and that's where this piece is going to go. So to me, that's your best advice, is lay it out and kind of flip it and realize what you're doing. The other thing they said about this white fabric was I found it hard to know which one was the right side and the wrong side. It is a little bit shinier because they say the right side is where this these designs are printed on top of it. I don't think in the end it's going to matter because it's so hard to tell, but do take an extra second there to see. This one's a little bit more muted, so I know this is the right side. So lay it how you want it to be in the end, and then flip that over. And then I would say the other tricky part is figuring out, okay, here's my 60-degree on my ruler. Here's the 60-degree line. So you just got to sit here and play with your ruler and figure out which way you're going to have it so that you can cut this 60-degree line. So see, that's not working. So I'm actually going to flip my ruler over, and now I can see that that's the 60-degree line, and I can actually pull this white down here. You have plenty of white sashing for the sides, so I pulled that down not to waste any white, but really you have plenty of white. So let me get this cut. Okay, I took that over to the cutting mat and cut that. So now I want to show you the next tricky piece, because we know we're going to sew this to this. So I think it's tricky on how you're flipping it. And then you have to also offset it by 1/4 inch, which sounds well, but it's like, which direction do you set it off? So let me show you. Okay, so normally when we're sewing fabric together, we would line these up, right? But if you line those edges up from that corner to that corner, and then you can simulate the 1/4 inch seam by putting your ruler on there, when you lift this up, you can see the zigzag. Okay, so I know we need to go that direction. Okay. Now, the question is how much, right? So I was supposed to offset it by 1/4 of an inch. So you're just going to have to play with that. And I'll tell you about half my diamonds are perfectly on. The other half are very close. So that's, that's par for the course. I think that's part of quilting. I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to this. The quilt is going to pop with all those colors, so I think we have to not get hung up on it. But so here, I'll simulate my 1/4 of an inch again, and I'll lift this up, and now you can see that they are straight. Okay, so let me get that sewn. Okay, I've pressed that open. Well, I didn't press it open. I pressed it to the side. That's another thing I didn't worry about. So then this is going to end up like this, right? If it's, perfectly lined up. So you have to remember again, when you're lining this up, that you want to scoot it such that your diamond lines up there. So again, we're going to go off the end. We're scooting it this way. And if you can't remember, lay your ruler on there again to simulate that 1/4 inch and open it up and see if it's everything you dreamed of. So I don't know why I had so much trouble figuring out when they said to adjust it by 1/4 of an inch. I have to visualize it. I have to lay it on here. So what you're doing is you're going off here by a little bit so that when you do your seam, this is lining up. Okay? And it's so hard to get it perfect. It really is. They described putting a pin in here, but I could not picture where to put the pin because I knew I wanted them to line up here, but I don't know how much a 1/4 of an inch is from this side. So I mainly went by scooting it down here and then, hopefully it works out. So I've got a little bit, I don't know if I could zoom in over there. I've got it over here. To me, it looks larger than a 1/4 of an inch, and you're going to have to play with it. Let me come over there to it. I don't know if you can see, but to me, it's larger. Maybe it is a 1/4 of an inch. But that's what you're doing when they say to scoot it and adjust it by 1/4 of an inch. So let me get that sewn and I'll press it open. Okay, moment of truth here. Oh my gosh, it's not exact, but it looks pretty good. I'd say that's one of my good ones. So I think that looks pretty good. Let me pull it up to you. I don't think I can get much better than that. So now the other thing that I'll do is I will lay my ruler down. I will lay my ruler on the cutting mat and line this up with this edge and then cut that white off. Okay, so that's what you're doing when you're lining those, when you're trimming those pieces. Just don't cut anything off till you're sure that that's the final step. And don't forget about your cornerstones. So let me get these pieces together and I'll come right back. Okay, I've got those 3 in place there, and I think the cornerstones look really good. I'm curious if I compare the cornerstones to the actual mapping, how close I got on them, but I think they look wonderful. It's a very colorful quilt. I really like that I outlined it in the black and then put the white sashing in the middle. I just think it does the Tula Pink fabric justice. I love how much it pops. So I can't wait to sew the rows together. I'm going to sew the rows together and then, of course, attach them. And then I haven't trimmed any of these pieces out here. I am going to put a white sashing around all 4 sides. So I'm not going to do any trimming till I've got the rows together. And I think it's going to look fabulous. So I still haven't decided too if I am going to quilt it myself or if I'm going to take it somewhere. I've never taken a quilt somewhere to have them do the fancy quilting on the top. I kind of want to do that for this. I've spent so much on the kit for the templates and the fabric and the time spent. I mean, this has been over a year, so I think I might have it done on a long arm professionally. I got to think about it. I do have batting. That's what's over there in that corner there. I had the batting, I could do it. I haven't bought the fabric for the back of it yet either. I haven't seen something that I really love to go on the back. So I've got to make those decisions and then it'll be finally done. So I think our group at the Quilt Beginning store is going to get back together after a year and do a little reunion and see everybody's quilts because no one was near done. I think our instructor had hers together, but the rest of us were still struggling. So I can't wait. I think it's a beautiful quilt. I love the Tula Pink fabric and look forward to using my scraps on another quilt. So that's coming too. So I thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you all. And I hope you do something fun in your craft room, you know, whether it's scrapbooking or cards or quilting. Do something fun this week. So I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.